Hello everybody, this is Jamil Jama from thelawofbusiness.com, and today I'm going to be doing a book review in the book series I've started, Books Every Entrepreneur Should Read. And the book Every Entrepreneur Should Read is Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki is a businessman and a author and the founder of Rich Dad Company. First, Robert Kiyosaki starts with his story of him growing up in Hawaii. And he had two dads, his rich dad and his poor dad. His rich dad was his friend's dad, and his poor dad was his real dad. And his real dad, although he had a PhD, was not financially stable. He always struggled with money. And his rich dad was very rich and left behind a lot of money for his family when he passed away. And his real dad did not leave behind any money for their family when he passed away. So he talks about the importance of financial literacy, and the rich teach their children financial education that the school systems do not. Financial education is not taught in the school systems, but the rich teach it to their kids. That's why they have an advantage. But you can learn that from this book. You can learn financial education from this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So first he talks about his story, basically, when he was in Hawaii as a child. And also Robert Kiyosaki also talks about that the rich don't work for money. They have money work for them. The poor and the middle class work for money. The poor and the middle class seek jobs. And a job is basically just over broke. You're just over broke. You're earning enough just to survive, really, in most jobs. There is exceptions, but majority of the jobs are just over broke. You're earning just enough to survive. So the rich don't have jobs. They have money work for them. They don't work for money. They have money work for them. And also Robert Kiyosaki talks about why you should teach your children financial literacy and why you should become financially literate. And also to mind your own business. And also the history of taxes. How taxes started. When they started taxing people. Now taxes started basically kind of like taxes started first. The rich were just being taxed, and the poor and the middle class thought it was a good idea to tax the rich. But then later on, the poor and the middle class started to get taxed as well. Everybody got taxed, but the rich found a way around the taxes. So the people that it hurt the most was the poor and the middle class, the people that voted for the taxes in the first place. And also Robert Kiyosaki talks about the importance of the power of corporations. And the rich invent money. Also work to learn, don't work for money. You know what I mean? You should work to learn for the experience, for the skill, for the knowledge, not for money. You don't work for money. You have money work for you. Also overcoming obstacles, which is very important. Overcoming bad habits. Overcoming any obstacle. For example, a good example, if you don't have the money to start a business, that's an obstacle. You got to find the money. You need to find the money. So you need to overcome any obstacles. And also, just to get started, do not procrastinate. Get started and learn. Just get started. Do not procrastinate. I believe every entrepreneur should read this book. You know, Rich Dad Poor Dad is the #1 financial book. Rich Dad Poor Dad is the #1 personal finance book of all time. Every entrepreneur should read this book. I mentioned in the other video that Think and Grow Rich was the first book I read, but that's not the case. This is the first book I read in personal development. No, it's not the first book I read in my life, obviously not. I've read books. I've read plenty of books before this, but the first personal development and business book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, because I remember when I was in Waterstones and I saw someone pick up a book. I saw someone pick up Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he went and bought it, and I told him that's a real good book. That's the first book I bought. That's the first business book I bought. So this is the first business book I bought. First personal development business book I ever read was Rich Dad Poor Dad. It wasn't Think and Grow Rich. That was the second personal development book and business book I read. So it's a real good book. Love the book. I'm a fan of Kiyosaki as well. Learn a lot from him. And also he talks about that the rich buy assets and the poor buy liabilities. An asset basically is something that puts money into your pocket. Anything that puts money into your pocket is an asset. It could be real estate, it could be a company. Anything that puts money into your pocket is an asset. Anything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. For example, if you buy a car, that takes money out of your pocket because you're spending money on a car, you're spending money on petrol. And if you buy a phone, that's a liability because you're spending money on the phone. So anything that puts money into your pocket is an asset, and anything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. And the rich buy assets. So it's a great book. You can find this on Amazon and in probably every single bookshop. So go get this book, read it. As Robert Kiyosaki said, get started.